Labris?
Labris murmurs her name to herself. Her head hangs lifelessly as she stares at her mechanical limbs. The shock slowly drains from her pale face, replaced with a bitter comprehension. Across from us, the shadow stares at me with piercing, mocking stare.
You can't be!
I am the same as you. 7th generation anti-shadow suppression weapon. Aigis. I am the model that came after you.
Are you here to seize her? I won't let you! Not when I'm almost free!
The shadow turns and to its double and cries out impatiently.
Or do you want to be caught and locked in a cramped little box again?
Her eyes wander in search of something and settle and eventually fixate on Yosuke. Though he is still in shock and unable to speak in the heat of the moment. That moment of silence is enough to shatter any hope for a peaceful resolution. Labris smiles lifelessly and hangs her head.
No, don't get me wrong. I was just a little surprised.
No, it's okay. That's how a normal person would react.
Her sad, weak voice makes my heart ache.
I won't let you take her back. I will gain my freedom, whatever it takes.
Suddenly, the shadow fires its arm out. A long chain trails behind and wraps itself around Labris many times over. Whoa! The shadow begins to pull her with its winch. Unable to struggle, Labris is dragged over to her captor, who lifts her over its shoulder. The shadow then runs at full speed out of the announcement room. It fled with such explosive velocity it is hard to believe it was carrying its own weight. I give chase. It is unfortunate that I cannot explain the situation to Yosuke-san, but I have no choice. I exit into the hallway and see the shadow make for the stairway leading up. This is the top floor, so it must be heading for the roof. I climb onto the landing and take the stairway 2 steps at a time before throwing open the door. But what I find there is not what one would expect to see on the roof of a building. It is best described as a TV studio. The spotlights hanging from the scaffolding and camera here and there. Up until now, no matter how warped things got, they still looked like part of a studio, but not here. What is this place? Just then, the door behind me slams open again and a boy comes running out, breathing hard. It is Yosuke-san. I am perplexed. Why did he chase after us? There is no one here who would warrant leaving his friend Rise-san's side. Suddenly, the area is shrouded by a menacing aura. The shadow appears. It is still carrying Labris over its shoulder. Labris shouldn't be unconscious, but she isn't showing any signs of resistance.
Persistent pests. Too bad for you. The Grand Prix is still on. Have fun wasting time fighting each other.
Hey, wait! Whoa!
As soon as Yosuke turns around to give chase, he runs up against something. I try stretching out my hand. Just as I thought, there is an invisible wall. And glitching. Though it wasn't here when I climbed up the stairs. The only door back into the school is the one behind the wall. In other words, we are trapped. Yosuke-san hangs his head in shame and looks at me awkwardly.
Guess this means we have to fight. Sorry, I feel like I got in your way.
I came here without thinking and it fell right into the enemy's trap. I'm sure that's what he's thinking. But as I see it, it isn't Yosuke who should be apologizing.
I am also sorry for all this.
Huh?
We are the ones ultimately responsible for this incident. I am sorry to have dragged you all into it. If your friends are safe, I would suggest you evacuate at once. But in these circumstances, I must go after her.
There's no need for you to take the blame. I mean, I feel the same about wanting to go after her.
Why? I'm not sure this concerns you.
I promised I'd protect her. I couldn't back her up when she needed me the most. So, I want to apologize and actually keep my promise this time. I feel like I can't leave her alone right now.
In his eyes, I can see a glimmer of
I think I should explain certain things to you. I'm not authorized to disclose everything, but...
I review the important parts for him. That personas and shadows are universal. That they have existed since ancient times, and there are probably little known happen to you. Cat, stop pressing the keyboard. Stop it. That should make it better. Yeah, I can certainly hear it now. I explained that Lapras was a prototype, long sailed away, and was lost during a recent incident. Yosuke-san doesn't seem to swallow all of it, but he listens attentively nonetheless.
There are shadows outside the TV too? Who would have thought?
I was surprised as well, to find out that a world like this was accessible through televisions.
Believe me, we were pretty shocked last year too.
I look straight into the boy's eyes without laughing at his attempt to lighten the mood. Only the winner can leave. So we must fight. There is no ignoring that cold fact. I suspect the shadows set this up to buy time. We don't have a moment to waste. I don't say anything, but Yosuke-san seems to get the picture.
Can you tell me something? What's going to happen to Lapras once you catch her?
I cannot answer that.
Yeah, I thought so. You did say that she was a weapon after all. I'm really surprised you can't talk about it with outsiders.
Is that all? I must go get her back. If you cooperate with me, I am sure I can knock you out painlessly.
In response to my blunt suggestion, a wry smile appears on Yosuke-san's face. However, his eyes still have a gleam.
Sorry, but I can't back down.
Are you really going to fight me? Not to boast, but you would challenge a living weapon?
She said she wanted to be free. Hey, I made her a promise. I guess you could say it's a guy pride thing?
Just one of the cats. He jokes about it, but there is resolve behind his words. He will not back down from that resolve. What he is really saying is this: my feelings for Lapras are as strong as yours. I smile inwardly, though it does not show on my face.
I understand. I accept your challenge.
Aigis. I don't think I'm quite as bad with her as I am with Naruto, but it's close.
Finals.
Persona, fire! Anti-air!
Oh yeah, good job, Aigis. Anti-air.
Sheesh! Heavy damage! Downward! Sheesh! Downward!
Just getting started. I saw that.
Guardian!
Come on.
Shot! Persona!
Go,
Fire! Downward!
Just getting started.
Fire! Here! First! Down! Downward! Go!
Super down.
Strike! Rebel! Downward! Attack!
Come on.
Please hit!
And stay down.
Heavy damage! Fire! Maximum speed!
Here I come.
Downward!
Slow. Still up.
Please hit! Try this! Finish!
Just getting started.
Anti-air! Please hit! Anti-air! Attack!
Just getting started.
Oh, I ran out of bullets. Yosuke-san smiles sheepishly from the floor.
I had a feeling I didn't have a chance against a pro like you. Ow. You sure are strong, Aigis-san.
Are you all right?
He waves his hand to show that he is fine. He should be exhausted. Perhaps the guy pride thing prevents him from admitting
Looks like
it.
I'll be staying behind.
I will do what I can to not force anything on my sister that she does not want.
Can you tell her that I wanted to apologize to her too? Of course, I'll tell her myself once this is all over, but... Oh, and one more thing. Tell her we can have a party when this is all over.
Yosuke-san.
Oh, you're invited too, of course.
My heart is warmed. He's not just worried about Labrys' safety, he's worried about her heart. I nod vigorously.
Yes, I will make sure to tell her. Though, we are not capable of eating food. Will that be a problem?
Huh? Really? Nah, it's no problem at all.
Thank you.
I will save Labrys from this world, from her cell of solitude. There are people outside the world who accept us as allies. Some of them consider us friends. I am happy
Be careful.
that hope is so
That
close
shadow
by.
looked pretty strong.
I will. Please stay safe.
As he cheers me on from behind, I leave the roof. As soon as I re-enter the school, I can sense the shadows present without needing to scan for it. I follow the presence back to the announcement room. What is there waiting for me this time? I open the door, wary of an attack. But the door is quiet. No ambush comes. I open the door all the way and step inside. Both versions of Labrys await in the back of the room. I quickly step between the two, shielding Labrys from her shadow. But the shadow does not seem alarmed. It spins its axe idly.
You're late. I had a feeling you'd be right. Was Yosuke-kun a tough opponent?
As it finishes the sentence, its axe stops. I brace myself for anticipation of an attack, but the shadow simply smiles brutally.
Just as you thought. The real party begins now.
Just as the words sink in, I hear a sound simultaneously, the heavy sound of the air being sliced behind me. I lunge to the left, solely on reflexes. The battle axe slams in the ground where I had only been milliseconds ago.
Sister!
Oh, so close.
Labrys takes a combat stance with her battle axe. There is a shocked expression on her wet eyes. She has chosen to fight for the unreal
Is this
fool.
what you really want? What else is there for me?
Labrys sounds resigned in her reply. I have no answer for her. My heart aches as if it was cut by a
It's
razor.
finally come to this. Sister versus sister. Let the battle begin!
The shadow leers at me, jeers at me with delight. I do not have the presence of mind to deliver a rejoinder, whatever that is. The battle is about to play straight from the worst-case scenario I have envisioned. The very person I had hoped to save, my sister, I must defeat her with my own hands. I mean, I figured it was for the context. I've never heard that term before.
Finally!
Fire! Persona! No! Severe impact! Athena! Let go! Fire! Athena! Attack! Let go! Attack! Or EMO! This is a severe emergency! Heavy damage! No! Severe impact damage! Let go! Severe impact! Light damage! Fire! Attack! Burst! He's hit! Fire! Light block! No! Light damage! Oh, this is a severe... No! Severe
so much.
Go! Strike up! Fire! Fire! Here! Go! Up front! Now! It's finished!
Labrys loses her strength and falls to her knees.
Why? Why can't I stay like this?
The hope she risked so much to gain has been shattered. She mutters piteously as she falls. She is not the only one who wants to collapse. I never imagined this would be so painful. Every time my attacks connected, I felt as if I were tearing out a piece of my own heart. This unwanted exchange of violence that will end in one of our destruction leads to nothing but despair. Every time I felt that pain, the memories of Labrys I saw in the classroom, those vivid images, make sense. The sterile mechanical rooms that made up most of her visual memories. They must have been the facility where she was created. At that facility, Labrys was forced to endure the same pain that she is feeling now. In order to gain control over combat data, she was forced to destroy her sister models, even though they had hearts. Not just once or twice, but over and over and over. It is too much for my mind to immediately comprehend. Agitation spreads through me like a fever. I clutch my chest.
I knew that you couldn't beat her.
The shadow, in contrast, is completely
But
nonchalant.
wow, you really didn't have any qualms about attacking her. Deep down, you must really want to make them suffer, don't you? You want them to go through what you had to.
No!
You want the everyday boys and girls to experience what you had to go through, right? That's why we're in school, having a fighting tournament. You want to see close friends fight for their lives against each other. Because if they do that, then they might understand. You want to make them understand.
That ain't true!
But it was no use. Even another living weapon can't understand you. It's all right, though. You don't have to worry about that anymore. I'll take care of everything from here. I'll destroy anyone who doesn't understand you and comes to get in your way. Just like you once did.
Please stop! That's all a lie! You're not me!
Finally! You finally said it! I'm finally free!
The shadow's eyes start to glow full of life. It isn't just a change in its attitude, its power seems to actually be rising. Did something in this conversation with Labrys catalyze this change? Too late, it hits me. What did the shadow want with Labrys? It was trying to buy time, which meant it needed something from her.
It's time for the true star to take the stage!
Its shout shakes the air. At the response to the cry, the room begins to warp. The view beyond the windows shimmers ominously.
Yes! The power!
A giant incinerator appears from the darkness. Countless chassis are falling apart to be crudely destroyed, falling in. Illuminated by the red light of the flames, the shadow reveals its true self. The scene of Labrys and the giant beast chained behind it brings to mind the summoning of a persona. I run over to Labrys and stand her listless body up.
I don't be needing that trash anymore.
It seems the shadow has accomplished its goal with Labrys. It was forced to fighting my sister for its purpose. I clench my teeth at my own slowness to comprehend.
Let's get started, shall we?
This isn't just for Labrys. This is the enemy, that fate of anyone not human.
It seems that I must take responsibility for this.
Here we go.
Final.
Oh, don't lag now. Dang it. Fine.
Damage!
Here's the hard way.
Try this! Finish, I eliminate! Burn!
Damage!
Superior light! I'm dried up! Fire!
Evaded!
Dang it. I cannot figure out how to get her Ultra or her Ultimate out very easily. The monster's form melts away as it disperses like fog. Only a silhouette, similar to Labrys's, remains. It falls to its knees, having no will to resist anymore.
I somehow pulled through.
I turn to face the real Labrys.
Are you all right?
She is conscious and seems to have no major damage. All that remains to be tested is
Please
her
listen. I have a message for you. From Yosuke-san. He said that he is sorry for promising to help you and being unable to support you when you needed it most. Additionally, he said that he would be throwing a party later. You are invited, of course.
You're lying.
If that is what you think, you can ask him yourself later. Now please, stand up.
I lend her my shoulder to prop her up. She follows my lead, but her legs are still
How come
shaking.
this happened? I didn't want to hurt anyone or make them suffer.
I know. That was a shadow going berserk. Not everything it said reflects your true feelings. I had a similar experience, actually. My other self was on the verge of going berserk. It told me there was an innate contradiction in having a heart, but not being human, preventing me from truly protecting others.
Wasn't that tough to listen to?
Yes, of course.
Then how can you stand it? How are you still acting like everything's fine?
I'm fine right now, but I'm sure I will suffer that pain again someday. Very probably, as long as I am myself, it will never go away as long as I live.
It won't? Then what can I do but give up? What am I supposed to do?
We'll be all right, as long as we have friends.
Labrys opens her eyes
It
wide.
was when you were alone that you suffered most. I'm sure of it. If you do not give up on reaching out to others, you will surely find someone who understands. Or maybe...
As I say this, I can hear voices from outside. They are calling our names. The voices grow closer and closer, and eventually one of the doors flies open.
Hey! There you are! Thank goodness!
Are you two okay?
You seem to have the matter in hand.
Kanji-san and Rise-san arrive shortly after. Now that the shadow has been defeated, the invisible walls trapping them have disappeared. There are some new faces to me as well. As I recall from the video, they are Yu Narukami-san and Yukiko Amagi-san. There was also a costume that looks like General Teddy. This must be the real Teddy that Chie mentioned. The resemblance is strong, but this one is so charming that it is hard to hate him. Everyone has considerate words for Labrys. My heart is filled with warmth. They could have ignored us outsiders and escaped, but they didn't. They were truly worried about us and came running. All of them. I addressed Labrys, who was looking back and forth between me and them with a perplexed
It
look.
might be more accurate to say that those who understand you are already here. Of course, I want to understand you as well. Please talk to me whenever you want. Tell me about your memories, even if you have to take them one at a time.
Labrys looks deep in thought, then looks at me again. I nod silently. She slowly starts walking and steps in front of her shadow, who stands as quietly as a real shadow at the other end of the room.
You were right. I was always alone, so I had no one to talk to, no matter how much it hurt, and I went and blamed that on them. I'm sorry I ignored you all this time. I was the one who left you all alone. No, you are me, after all. This is my persona.